How did you come to the desire, well, I don't know what term to use, but to provide some crazy stuff?
There are always people to push you. That is, when I was in Marbella, I was mainly into shit, okay? And then other traffics, small robberies from time to time and all. It was good. It was going very well. And then one day in 72, I met a Dutchman. He gave me some great con. It was even pink. And I say, damn, but this thing is wonderful. I was already taking the thing, but it's not serious. And then I didn't have quality in Marbella, obviously. So I said, oh my, but your thing is good and all that. He says he has as much as I want available in Holland. And that's when I went up to Holland. Once in Holland, I came across South Americans, as I speak perfect Spanish, and I lived 14 years in Spain. So people, they immediately adopted me. The South Americans, they adored me. And so they told me, you know people here. We'll take you to the best shell in the world. I was going to get it there too. That's how the business developed. I had the clientele, they had the good shell, and that's how I made a name for myself. I had the best shell in the world.
And what were your craziest, most unusual techniques for smuggling drugs?
There was the boa one. It was original. It was wonderful. All of a sudden, I thought, but a boa, it eats a 35-kilogram goat. It takes 3 days to digest, so I did my calculations. I couldn't put it in the belly of the wood in South America because there's still over 3 days of crossing after that. So, in the middle of the sea, when we had calculated that it would take so much time to get to Marbella, well, I gave it a greenhouse emptied of everything and full of cocaine. So we could put up to 30, 32 kilos of cocaine inside. It came from South America, but there are multiple countries there. Either it came, as I said in one of my books, the best was the Venezuelan one that I supplied to Chirac. It was the Peruvian one. It was the communication of intelligent people, the communication that makes you think. For those who went to discos, I took the Colombian who is very festive and wants to dance, drink, and act crazy. So I had my clientele a bit of everything, especially in Holland. I knew everyone's desires. In France, it was mostly festive for those who wanted it.
How do you restock when you've sold everything you were supposed to sell?
It depends. If you're talking about the years before 72, that was the case with the ISS. I would go to Morocco, I would buy my case of ISS. It was often very dangerous. I had a friend, an Italian, who was in the Italian mafia and who would get me across the Strait of Gibraltar on a speedboat. I would vomit nonstop there. Afterward, they dropped me off on the beaches with 25 kilos in each arm. At night, when there was fog, civil guards patrolled with machine guns. It was important to avoid being caught, as they would shoot on sight. After they took the helmet, didn't declare it, they left us dead on the beach. I have a friend who left his buttocks over there. He got a burst of machine gun fire in his buttocks. Then there was the sale. The sale already more complicated.
More complicated? How so?
We occasionally encountered armed men who stole our goods. Besides the civil guards, there were numerous deaths. I have many friends of mine who left their skin there because they thought it would go well, but we don't know what's going on in a human being's head. He comes all nice with a smile. All of a sudden, he pulls out a gun or a machine gun. I was lucky enough to get through just about everything except with the cops or customs officers. Otherwise, with the thugs, it always went well, but you
Didn't deal with the cartel, but I.
was good with the cartels, the Medellin cartel. I'm not saying I knew them. No, but they never bothered me. I never worked with them. I worked with individuals. The cartel was too big for me. But in South America, you don't go looking for 5 or 10 or 15 kilos. I didn't do it too much because I thought if I get caught, I'm going to jail there. Forget it. It's not Fleury Morogi there. I can tell you that they throw you on the ground with 50 guys who beat you up. Luckily, I dodged all that because I was smarter than the others. That is to say, I didn't have a big belly. I have a French friend who still spent 18 months there because he wanted to take up to 5 kilos. He got caught and they put him in prison in Bogota. He came out in pieces. He was good for the scrapyard. They massacred him. They beat him up. They took his money and everything. He lived through hell. I avoided it when I had 15 kilos. They caught me with 15 kilos in 86. They had brought them here to me. Everyone should be left to their own territory and not encroach on another territory. You understand? And you?
Have you ever been hurt?
Hurt, yes, once. It was in France. At the Franco-Belgian border. I have some scars that have gone away. I took a little burst of machine gun in the stomach though, but it's okay.
You're nitpicking?
The French, while I was in Belgium, they shot me from a distance like a rabbit.
Across the border?
They are
Hot. They are
hot, yes, they are very hot, the French, precisely. They were parked at the border. I come from Belgium. I was coming from Holland, of course. I arrive as usual. I had a little path. I arrive at 3 a.m. Suddenly, headlights light up. Stop. I say, no, I don't stop. It's not going well for me. I turn around on the spot and machine gun burst.
And when you bought the sly one and you resold it, what was the margin you were making?
It was up to the customer. There are people, I gave them pure, so I made less profit. I cut the number of people in half and made more profit. The margin, it was 200% anyway. Then you also have to see what I was taking, all that. I had profit in all of this.
The thing that comes immediately when dealing with someone like you, Gerard, we wonder who he dealt with in terms of clientele.
Well, listen, for me it's simple. Instead of standing in front of schools to sell my stuff, I went in front of the ministries, the National Assembly, the Senate, etc., even in front of the Élysée. But how did it go? What do you mean, how did it go, you?
Had contacts?
Yes, I had ministerial contacts. For instance, I had Jacques Barrot, who was François Berroux's equivalent at the time. He took for Chirac, he took for all his friends, all his minister friends, legislators and company.
The politicians, they were the best clientele.
Absolutely, because he paid well, except Chirac, who didn't pay me. He screwed me over with 2 checks totaling 15,000 francs, one for 11,000 and another for 4,000. He stopped payment. He scammed me. No, it's not him who scammed me. Let's say exactly. It was Jacques Barrot, who was his best friend, who organized his parties. So Barrot, one time he comes, he tells me he needs so many grams and all. I told him he had to pay me. He said he didn't have any cash and offered to pay with checks instead. I tell him, but that's Chirac. He tells me, so it's not a problem, take it. I take it. And when Chirac learned that he had given checks to a thug like me, he said, no, it's out of the question. He had to think about it. He was arguing. So he objected. When he refused to pay me the checks, I waited for the next order. And it was 100 grams. There was a big party at Dassault. Everyone was there, obviously. Betancourt, Arnaud, all the big ones from France. And that day, I think if I didn't die of laughter, it's because I'm really solid. Because I pissed myself, vomited everywhere with laughter in Dassault's property. I said I would screw him over in return because he screwed me over first. So I take the shell. Instead of giving 100 grams of pure, I take 50 grams and I put 50 grams of laxative. The shell, it's already a laxative by itself. If you add 50 grams with 50 grams, it's a massacre. So the women in luxury dresses, from Dior, from Sissi, they would stop in bushes to shit on themselves and everywhere. And the guys in suits, in whatever you want, in tuxedos and all, they were running in the garden. Well, it was huge. It was maybe 50 hectares. They ran everywhere to empty themselves. An epidemic of diarrhea that night, I can't even tell you. I laughed so hard I peed myself.
Apart from politicians, did you have any actors or singers? Who was your biggest consumer?
Practically all of them. It's Michel Sardou who confirmed it. It's not even me saying it anymore. I heard he's a liar. That's fine. Meanwhile, I haven't faced any lawsuits yet. I leave those who haven't wronged me alone. But there are some that I particularly hated, like Johnny Hallyday. I didn't miss them. But he ratted me out to the cops. We caught him with 10 grams of coke. All right, Johnny, we don't bother with 10 grams of coke. Simply, the cops said it, yeah. But you know, there you go, Gérard Fauré, he fell. It's a huge deal. There are 15 kilos of getting involved in this story will cause problems for you, and all of France will know about it. But he ratted me out, saying that I've been selling him for over a year now. Every time 10 grams, 10 grams, 10 grams. That didn't help my case.
You're pretty furious with quite a few of your clients, well, former clients. Where does it come from?
It comes from the fact that I have never swindled anyone, especially not the French people. They are big swindlers and they are venerated by the people. Bernard Tapie, he was almost a god in France. Me, no, I have never swindled anyone. I've written books, I've told a bunch of stuff. At least, what has Tapie done? He spent his time stealing from the world, like all the ministers. They are all thieves. How can you have respect for these people when they say that the scum no longer want to be in the Republic? But I understand them. When we tell them to their face, this one stole, the other one embezzled, the other one did this, the other one had children, the other one made women, how do you expect the guy to want to become a Republican? We need to stop. We need to give them something good in return.
As a result, it attracts women to become bandits.
They're more than that, of course, but it's mostly because they know that the bandit, he has money, that's what attracts them. Women aren't stupid, but it was for the fool. They were the top models, the most beautiful girls from Rotterdam, Amsterdam. When I arrived at the club, Gerard, the Frenchman is here because they knew I had my pocket stuffed. It wasn't for my face.
Have you ever hurt someone?
Hurt.
Not intentionally.
Yes. When I was in Holland, I hurt one almost every night.
Injured?
Yes, I was injured. I was shot in the thighs, legs, or arms, not to kill, but I was acting crazy. But to scare deter, if I had done 100 of what I did in Holland, in France, I would never get out of prison. In Holland, I thought I was allowed to do anything. In fact, they got me in the end since they put me what is called kogelvrij. That means free to receive bullets in the body. That's right. So that's what made me leave Holland.
That means they can shoot you.
Anyone without facing legal action. Because I had become public enemy number one. My photo was in all the police stations in Holland and even in Belgium and Luxembourg. I was dangerous. So I was forced to leave and never set foot in Holland again because I would have met a guy I hurt. They told me again, now it's my turn. Here, he was not going to prison and I was going to the cemetery, Gérard le Français. It was everywhere, Gérard le Français, but I had reached a degree of madness unimaginable. I weighed 45 kilos instead of 45, but I was crazy, but...
What was it due to, for example, 45 kilos? Okay, so it's the drug that made you totally...
Crazy, but it's the naughty one when you take up to 6-7 grams a day. I was taking, and then when I got to 5-6 grams, already it didn't come out of my eyes. I had a grain of madness. I had reached the maximum level of danger of this product.
And thanks to the drug, would you be able to say how much money you made in total?
I can also say how much I spent. For example, when I was arrested in 1986, I had at Crédit du Nord here, I had 500 million francs, 500 million, it's not bad. The state took from me via customs, via the tax office. They took 250 million from me, and upon my release from prison in 91, I recovered my 250 million. That's what I had put in France. After what they seized from me, there in 2015, I took 3 years. They seized 1 million euros from my banks and 35,000 euros cash. Each arrest cost me 1 to 2 million euros, plain and simple. That's why the cops, they like to take a little trip to my place. Let's go to Gerard's. Let's see if he might have a little million euros. But now they can come. If they find 100 euros, that's a lot.
Gerard, how did you launder the ad money?
It was too easy. In Holland, all you had to do was walk into a bank with bags full of bills. You were welcome. So there was no problem. They would launder for you. But there was something better. On the other hand, there were also the Berbers who did what is called in Arabic the saraf, which means exchange. You gave them euro here and you put your money where you wanted. Then you had the banks of Luxembourg. The Bank of Luxembourg was wonderful. It was too easy, but I also had a good scheme. Is that I was in contact with a jeweler. The jeweler, the Queen of Holland. And I would give him, for example, 1 million. At the time it was in florin, and he would say, where do you want your money? Converted, all that. But there you have it. It was too easy at the time. The laundering of the tower, we didn't talk about. It didn't exist. It was us. We put our money. We placed it. And this money, that's it. It was clean. Once it was in a bank, it was clean.
And what did your days look like approximately?
My days were beautiful. In the mornings, I went horseback riding, then to the beach. Afternoons were spent at the coffee terraces. In the evening, it was the nightclubs. But I also had time for my business. It was heaven on earth. It's not like today. We didn't have time to get bored.
But for example, a real work day, it starts at 7
o'clock. It starts at 10 o'clock.
My work, it's too much over there at home.
You? No. The work, I do not. That wasn't work. It was your occupation at the time. There, occupation is better, yes. Unhealthy occupation, we can also say. We were trafficking a bit of everything, arms trafficking, money trafficking, drug trafficking, and all. We spent our day being careful not to run into the cops, into the Spanish military. They were no gifts. Then in the evening, we also went to the casino. We spent everything we had earned during the day.
And what excited you the most in your life as a bandit?
Let's say everything already, but at the beginning, it's true that I had my adrenaline and I needed adrenaline. Then, of course, there were the women, obviously, the freedom I had to go to bed when I wanted, get up when I wanted to go to the disco when I wanted, the great restaurants, the good food, all that, the beautiful cars, the beautiful clothes, all that. That was part of my life, but it was only happiness. Well, I thought it was only happiness. I was wrong. I know it now, but not at the time. I didn't even want to know, in fact. It was too deeply entrenched in my crappy life as a junkie. I used to heavily drink and smoke 3 packs of cigarettes daily. It's a crappy life I've led. Guys, they imagine it's grand because we have money, we're surrounded by chicks everywhere. They imagine that's what life is. No, I used to imagine that too. It's false. I wouldn't do it again if I had the chance. I didn't realize all of that. I was a little bit crazy too. And then I kind of liked the adventure. But still, when I saw all my friends who stayed, they're all practically dead. So you regret this life a bit, or you don't? No, I don't regret it. Nope. No, there are chapters that if I could, I would remove for the rest. No, wait, we had a good life in Marbella with the sun and sea. We can't deny that.
The lobster.
The lobster, every day at noon, a lobster and all. I ate so much lobster today that I'm disgusted. Yes, I can't anymore. Neither caviar nor all that, the caviar by the spoonful and all. We believed. That's the problem. We believed. I say well because all my buddies and all these little thugs there, we thought we were living well compared to others. But well, when we look back a bit and all, we say to ourselves that there was still better to do.
And Gerard, were there a lot of people working for you, or did you prefer to work solo?
No, I had a lot, of course. I had lieutenants, sub-lieutenants. I had a lot of resellers of everything. Obviously, you can't work alone. I was already in charge of going to get the con. It was already huge. It was dangerous and everything. Then I had the means to support. Afterwards, I had shortness of breath. It's normal. In all the suburbs, I had people.
And how did you choose your colleagues?
I was introduced through various means, but most of the time it was a bad choice. Bad choice. They would betray, steal from, cheat, and lie to you. Especially since those people, they were also taking crap. So they are unpredictable. We can't know. That's why I also stopped.
So your parents, were they aware of what you were doing?
They were fully aware and prayed to God daily. I still served a 20-year prison sentence in Morocco, sentenced by the king himself. When I had the case with Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger that I supplied in Marrakesh, in Tangier.
Supplied?
In what? In Naughty?
Okay.
I supplied Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger. They had palaces in Tangier and in Marrakesh. I brought them each about 100 grams every 2 weeks. And it was very, very risky. So I put the naughty one in the shoulder pads. I passed through customs. If I had been caught, it would have been 20 years straight. But they paid well for the work.
One day, Yves Saint Laurent, he flirted with the son of a Moroccan minister, very cute. He was 15, and he
absolutely wanted to empty him. He gives him JB a lot of girlfriend, and all the guy he makes her who makes her work. The little boy dies. So the king, who loved this family and this child, he conducts an investigation, and he learns that it's Yves Saint Laurent, etc. And obviously Yves Saint Laurent, scared as he was, he ratted me out right away. And so the king, without a court, without anything, he said, this gentleman, if he returns to Morocco, he has been waiting for 20 years. And so I did not return for 25 years. As Salim Laibik's lawyer told me, you have created an earthquake in the world of prophecy. Well, I told him, I am proud of it. And as they are very rich, you have guys like Yves Saint Laurent, like Christian Dior, Lagerfeld and all. The current events in this nation are horrific. It's monstrous. I experienced something in the 80s that I won't discuss today, but will address in my 4th volume. I'm going to show the French what this country is like, what Mitterrand did.
And how did you feel at your arrest?
Nothing at all. I was thinking of getting ready. I already had a prison kit already. I told the cops, do you mind if I take my kit? They asked, what's that? I said, prison kit. They laughed. No, I didn't feel anything. I was used to it. It seemed normal to me. I thought we played, we lost. I was sportsmanlike, and then I took responsibility.
Did you feel a bit guilty selling size, for example, seeing this is just an example, but that Yves Saint Laurent was using it on children?
No, I say no, never, never. If I poisoned anyone, they were scoundrels who deserved it. Afterwards, it's true that I can't find the term, I was stiff, let's say. I was making so much money, let's say, well, sometimes it's true that in Morocco, so there, what I experienced with Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger, I had some little pimples sometimes. It's disgusting sometimes when, I must admit, I don't recall anymore. It was still very, very 50 years ago. But it's later that I started to understand that what I had done, that my inaction, it was a bit of complicity with all these people, in fact. I've seen so many children get taken advantage of in Paris and all. I'll talk about it in my 4th volume in the 80s. But I'm not saying I'm ashamed of what I've done. I won't lie or say I have regrets. What's done is done. Anyway, I could never have prevented that. However, when I got out of prison, I denounced the chief commissioner of the 8th district. I started with him. He got 8 years in prison, which protected the girls at the time of Mitterrand. He thought it was going to last. And that's where I started, let's say, the redemption, if you will.
And Gerard, today, are you still being contacted?
No, I'm not in contact anymore. The guy who talks to me about drugs or whatever, I kick him out.
Okay.
No, it's over, but wait, there comes a time when I have to retire from business after all.
You live with the money you've earned?
Throughout your life. I also received a sizable inheritance, and my books have been selling well. In fact, I had the best sales in France. I sold by tens, by hundreds of thousands. So all this allows me to live without traffic. And then but what's the point? To always earn more, I'm not going to take the money with me. No, in my grave. People, I don't understand. They don't know how to stop. They win. They want to win more, always more, always more, always more. That's what they say. We are unhappy, but I want you to know, today I am the happiest man on earth because I have a small farm and I'm going to put animals, I live in nature, I no longer smoke, I no longer drink, I no longer take drugs, nothing at all. I no longer go out to nightclubs like before, in bars. I'm content being myself today. This life is wonderful. Why do you want me to make another slip with fucking thugs who are going to... First of all, I'm going to tell you something. Initially, I stopped because today you can't do business without going to jail. It's mandatory. Too many snitches. They all snitch. And in my volume 4, I'm going to name very, very big thugs who really belong to the history of major crime and who have been damn snitches. I'm not saying the names right away. He and his 2 associates were all police informants for Pasqua and his group. You can't work anymore. It's an unhealthy environment.
Today, aren't you afraid that everything you're denouncing will catch up with you and cause, I don't know, problems?
No, otherwise I wouldn't do it. Anyway, well, I've released 3 bombshell books. There hasn't been a single lawsuit.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you have anything left of your fortune today? Of your fortune?
Well, fortunately still, otherwise I wouldn't be here. In my moments of lucidity, I knew where to put my money. But I must admit, I also received a substantial inheritance from my parents later on. And also, I must say that my books have brought me a lot of money.
And you enjoyed your life?
No, not too much. Okay, no, it's a waste. Everything I've done there, disgusting. The stupidity, it ruined my life, that's it. That's the term. And I would like those who are listening to us, the young ones and all, to tell them that they need to be careful. We believe at first, as I myself believed, that it's festive, that we're having fun, that we're laughing, that we're making love, that we're dancing. It's wonderful, but you have to pay the bill afterwards. I paid a high price with my health, for one thing. You should know that in 1981, I fell into the... Because that happens very often to people. They always want more, always more. I fell into the police arrested me. I did 16 months in prison. I got out of the... It was hard, I imagine. At the very least, it took me between 4 and 5 months to get out of my cloud. I was on a cloud of crap. I went from one extreme to the other. And so much the better, so much the better, so much the better. I don't want to relive what I've been through, frankly.
Then I advise against it. If the young people listen to me, I advise against sticking their nose in it because there they are seriously screwing themselves over. Celine, yes. Gerard, how do you imagine me as a former thug? I've heard a lot about bodybuilding. Yes, yes. But that's,
A bit.
yes, a lot.
Yeah.
But Jim, more firm.
I imagine the thug's very classy.
Yeah, but that's in the movies, Frankie. You're not classy. They're not classy at all.
Yeah.
No, I think someone very determined.
If you knew Johnny, you must be in your 70s. So I think you...
Go ahead. Don't make gestures with the image. That I'm bald, that I have no more teeth.
No, you don't look bald. It's okay, yes, it's...
Good. It's okay. Nice to meet you.
It matches.
It matches. I totally imagine it like this. Totally like that. Totally. You have the face of the voice.